Oh gosh.
That for today.
I forgot no one else can see him.
I thought it'd never end. How do you do this every day? It's so boring here. Hey, where you going? Hey, Light, are you listening to me?
Don't talk to me. Unlike you, people can still hear me when I talk.
He doesn't want to look crazy.
Well, aren't you boring?
I wonder how long he's been following him around at this point.
There was more violence across the city today. Another stabbing, this time at a restaurant in the heart of the Kabukicho district of Shinjuku. Following a heated exchange between two employees.
Hey, Light. I'm talking to you.
What is it?
Why are you working so hard?
I can't afford to waste any time.
Just trying to get rid of all the evil. Or all the bad.
I still need to sleep so I can maintain my average and stay at the top of my class. Obviously, I can't be sleeping in class. If I'm serious about trying to create an ideal world that's free from evil, then I need to make the most of my time.
All right.
Weird. Hey, Light, what's going on? Why is your door locked?
Because he doesn't want you in there.
Can you help me with my homework?
Yeah, okay.
We're doing quadratic equations in math. Sorry to interrupt. I know
Little
you're
sister.
studying right now, but I'm like the only person in my class who doesn't get this stuff. Thanks so much.
No problem.
I'd be careful if I were you. If anyone else touches that notebook you've got hidden in the drawer right now, they'll be able to see me too.
He waits
Lock
till
it
now
up.
to mention that important detail? Damn Shinigami.
What's wrong? Are you all right?
It's
Shinigami.
nothing. So, what exactly don't you understand? What are you stuck on?
Well, I think all of it.
There have been 52 deaths that we're aware of, and that's just in the past week.
Every single one of them involved a heart attack.
And I think it's safe to say there are other criminals whose deaths are unaccounted for.
In which case, the death toll could be well over 100.
Still not a lot.
Why should it matter whether it's a criminal or someone innocent? Last time I checked, murder was still murder.
It's still too early to consider these a homicide.
Then how did all these people have heart attacks at the exact same time? That's not coincidence, it's murder!
Do you think it's possible to simultaneously kill all these people in different locations?
We're treating this as an elaborate murder plot that's been carried out by a large organization.
If it is a large organization, I'm sure I'm not alone in suspecting the FBI or CIA.
I dare you to say that again! Now, this is not the time to be joking around. We need to confirm that these are indeed homicides and not coincidences. If we'll have no choice but to bring in L.
Who? L?
Chief, what's this L they're talking about?
Right. I forgot that it's your first time at this conference. We don't know L's real name or whereabouts. In fact, we still don't even know what he looks like. However, he's managed to solve every case he's ever taken on. And he's tackled some of the greatest mysteries this world has ever known. He hides in the shadows, but he's the best of the best. A last resort, our trump card.
We don't even know how to contact him.
L is already on the move.
They're there?
Gentlemen, L has already begun his investigation into these incidents.
What?
Huh? Who's that?
That man's the only known person who can contact L. Nobody knows his true identity either.
Please be silent.
But we'll trust him.
L would now like to address the delegates.
Greetings to all of you at the ICPO. I am L. The difficulty of this case lies in its unprecedented scope. And make no mistake, we're witnessing an atrocious act of mass murder, one that is unforgivable. This case cannot be solved without the full cooperation of the ICPO, that is, all of the police organizations you represent throughout the world. You need to make the decision to fully support the investigation at this meeting. Also, I require additional cooperation from Japan's National Police Agency.
They're already...
Why Japan in particular?
Whether the guilty party is an individual or a group, there's a strong possibility that they're Japanese. And even if they're not, we can be sure they're hiding in Japan.
What is all this based
They
on?
don't like that.
Why Japan, you ask? I think I'll be able to provide you with proof of that after I directly confront the culprit.
A direct confrontation?
At any rate, I would like to set up the investigation headquarters in Japan.
He's already got the location.
Criminals are dropping like flies lately.
It's a little scary, but at the same time, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, just make sure you don't do anything bad.
I wouldn't be surprised if the police were behind this.
No way. The police don't have that kind of power. Don't you know about him?
Huh? About who?
Kira. You know, Kira.
I wonder who's gonna be killed next.
Kita?
Ryuk, you should check this out.
Huh?
Websites like this are popping up everywhere lately.
Oh my gosh, telling people are requesting.
Huh. Sounds pretty cool. Is this about you?
Yeah, I think they've taken the name Kira from the English word killer. Can't say I'm too happy about that, but it looks like that's the name they've decided to give me. When I search the word Kira, I'm pulling up tons of sites just like this one. The media hasn't picked up on it. They're still calling this a succession of unexplained deaths among the world's most hardened criminals. But the people of the world can already sense that there's something happening. They know there's someone out there passing righteous judgment.
Oh?
Human beings are like that, Ryuk. Those who have done no wrong are cheering for Kira in their hearts because they have nothing to fear, while those who have done wrong are on the run. They're forced to hide from an unknown enemy. This is how it should be. It's perfect. Everything is going just like I planned.
We'd like to apologize for the interruption. As of now, we're bringing you a live worldwide broadcast from Interpol's ICPO.
I am Lind L. Taylor, otherwise known as L.
Oh!
Who is this guy?
So this is how it all begins.
He shows himself?
He's never actually shown his face before, right? Why would he choose to do it now?
It must mean L's serious about this. L, we followed every single one of your orders. Now it's time for you to prove what you said to the ICPO.
Criminals around the world are being murdered by a serial killer. I consider this crime to be the most atrocious act of murder in history. I will not rest until the person or persons responsible are brought to justice. Kira, I will hunt you down. I will find you.
He seems certain he'll catch you.
That fool. He'll never find me. He'll have to get this first. And as long as the police don't find it, there won't be any evidence to convict me. Which means that catching me will be absolutely impossible. I anticipated that the police would get involved and that something like this might happen.
Kira, I've got a pretty good idea what your motivation might be, and I can guess what you hope to achieve. However, what you're doing right now is evil.
He's acting like that.
I'm evil? I am justice! I protect the innocent and those who fear evil. I'm the one who will become the god of a new world that everyone desires. All those who would oppose that god, they are the ones who are truly evil.
It's a trick.
You're just too stupid, L. Too bad. This could have been a lot more interesting if you'd only been a bit...
It won't work. It's not his name. What happens? You wrote it pretty big.
I'll show the world what happens when you cross me. The entire world is watching. L.
So it clearly isn't him.
4, 3, 2, 1. What's wrong? You got nothing else to say?
Light, you need to step off.
I had to test this just in case, but I never thought it would actually happen. Kira, it seems you can kill people without having to be there in person.
Wow.
I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't just witnessed it.
So you just had that guy get killed?
If you did indeed kill Lind L. Taylor, the man who you just saw die on television, I should tell you that he was an inmate whose execution was scheduled for today. That was not me.
What?
The police arrested him in absolute secrecy, so you wouldn't have heard about him on TV or through the internet. It appears that not even you have access to information about these types of criminals.
No.
He got you there.
But I assure you, L is real. I do exist. Now, try to kill me.
You bastard.
And you can't target him because you don't know his real name and you don't know his face.
Oh, Kira, it seems that you can't kill me after all.
So there are some people you can't kill. You've given me a useful hint.
Let me return the favor. I'll tell you something that I think you'll find interesting. Although this was announced as a worldwide broadcast, the truth is...
I know you're in Japan.
Broadcasting in the Kanto region of Japan. I had planned to broadcast this message around the world until we found you, but it looks like that won't be necessary.
Now he knows.
That's pretty good.
The police treated your first killing as an unrelated incident, but in actuality, the first of your victims was a suspect in Shinjuku. Of all the criminals that have recently died of heart attacks, this one's crime was by far the least serious. Furthermore, his crime was only ever reported inside Japan.
I used that information to deduce this much.
And your first victim was little more than an experiment, which means that you haven't been killing for very long. We decided to broadcast
Wow.
Chronicle first because of its large population, and luckily, we found you. To be completely honest with you, I never expected that things would go this well, but it won't be too long now before I am able to sentence you to death.
L has certainly lived up to his reputation.
Uh-huh. He proved that
Yo.
Kira exists, that the deaths were murders, and that he is here in Japan.
Naturally, I'm very interested to know how you're able to commit these murders without being present. But I don't mind waiting a little bit longer.
You can answer all of my questions when I catch you.
Let's meet again soon, Kira.
Oh.
He's going to sentence me to death? Sounds interesting. I accept your challenge, L.
Each of them has to hunt down the other without knowing the other's name or face. And the first one whose identity is revealed will die. Humans are so much fun.
L. Kira. I will hunt you down wherever you're hiding, and I will eliminate you. I am justice.
Justice. Yo. That's pretty dope. So you have Light and you have L. That setup was so good. I saw it after, he started. There's like no way that's him, but straight up he used another person who was an inmate and was sentenced to be executed that day. Wild. And then tracking down Japan and all that. That's cool. Very, very, very nice. I am so looking forward to the rest of this series.
All right, let's start with the tip line reports.
Yes, sir. Up to this point, we've received 3,029 responses about the murders via telephone and email. Most of these have been curious citizens and prank calls, but there are 14 people who claim to either know Kira or who have seen him.
No.
All 14 accounts were followed up on and carefully documented. However, nobody could provide any information that wasn't already publicly available. And lastly, this week there were an additional 21 people who called in claiming to be Kira. We didn't want to rule anything out, so we followed standard procedure and created files for all 21 of them.
All right, on to the victim reports.
Yes, sir. Upon further investigation, we have confirmed that information of the heart attack victims was in fact publicly available in Japan immediately prior to their deaths. Also, concerning L's request that we investigate the time of death for each victim, we found that all of them occurred between the hours of 4 p.m. and 2 a.m. on weekdays, local time, with 68% of them occurring between 8 p.m. and 12 a.m. Weekends and holidays appear to be the exception to this rule, as the times of death vary much more widely than during the week.
That information is
They're gonna figure out he's in school.
It suggests that given the times of death, our suspect could very well be a student. Based on the fact that he's only killing criminals, I think it's safe to assume that he's driven by a very idealistic notion of justice. It's highly possible he may even aspire to be some sort of godlike figure. We're dealing with an individual who has a very childish concept of right and wrong. Of course, this is mere speculation at this point, but still I recommend you re-examine any assumptions you've made as to whether or not our suspect could be a student. We must consider every possibility. I believe that is the shortest route to finding and arresting Kira. Please continue with your report.
Oh, right. Does anyone else have something they'd like to add?
Yes, sir.
What is it, Matsuda?
Well, I'm not saying this to support Kira or to condone the murders, but in the last few days throughout the world, but especially here in Japan, we've observed a dramatic decrease in the number of violent crimes committed.
Well, I suppose it makes sense. We suspected something like that would happen. Anything else?
No.
Well, that about sums up our report for today. L?
Thank you, everyone. I feel we're one step closer to finding Kira. Before I go, I'm afraid I have one additional request to make. This is directed to the teams investigating the victims, TV news, and internet. I would like you to go back and take a closer look at the exact way in which the victims' identities were made public. Be as thorough as possible.
In particular, I want to know if photos of the victims were made available to the public in Japan.
Ah, that's gonna come out and find out that only those that pictures were put out in public.
I knew I could count on you, Light.
Hey, so do you think you're ready to try a few on your own now?
Huh? Yeah, I guess so. Sounds like Dad's home.
Welcome home, dear.
Thank you.
He's home really early today.
Hey, why don't you at least try the last problem by yourself?
I will, but maybe after dinner.
Yeah, right.
Helping your sister with her homework. You sure are relaxed.
Of course. If the police try to come after me, I'm pretty confident I've got something that'll give me the advantage. Well, isn't that interesting? Looks like the police are already beginning to suspect a student.
I guess that means you're in trouble.
I mean, all he needs to do is change up when he does
If the
it.
cause of death is written within 40 seconds of writing the person's name, it will happen. If the cause of death is not specified, the person will simply die of a heart attack. After writing the cause of death, details of the death should be written in the next 6 minutes and 40 seconds. That sound right to you, Ryuk?
So what's your point?
In other words, if I write heart attack as the cause of death, then I should be able to write down all the details, including time of death afterwards, shouldn't I? Looks like I'll be able to provide you with more entertainment now.
So he's gonna have him die throughout the times to kind of throw him off. But I feel like, I don't know, that can be like all of a sudden this change happens after he makes the comment, students. He's gonna know that they somehow have that he somehow has access to their investigation.
What? I don't believe this. Another 23 victims yesterday? Are these confirmed?
Yes.
The day before, there were another 23 victims. He's killing one off every hour on the hour.
Considering that this new pattern has been going on for 2 weekdays,
It does punch some holes in the theory that our suspect is a student.
Maybe not.
Al's gonna figure out.
2 days of school.
You're missing the point. It does appear less likely now that Kira's a student. But that's not the message he's sending by doing this. Ask yourselves, why every hour? And why are all these victims in prisons where they are sure to be discovered immediately? Why not other criminals like before? I believe Kira is telling us that not only can he kill from a distance, but he can also determine the time of death.
But something's not right. As soon as we began to suspect that Kira might be a student, the pacing of the killings changed, as if to contradict that theory. Coincidence? No. Too convenient. This can only mean that Kira has access to police information. It's obvious now. This is a direct challenge to me.
I'd say L is probably starting to sweat a little by now. What'll really make his job difficult is that I've deliberately left about 50 criminals alive for times like this.
Oh?
If L's as good as they say, by now he should be starting to suspect someone with connections to the police.
Okay.
So Kira has found a way to obtain information from the task force headquarters. This is one fact that cannot be ignored. But what does he get out of all this? What is he hoping to achieve in the end?
with all due respect, Chief, we're resigning. We demand that you assign us to a different case. Otherwise, you can have our badges right here and now.
Why? You're good cops.
Isn't it clear? It's because we value our lives, sir.
If what L says is true, Kira has some ESP-like power that somehow allows him to kill people indirectly, from anywhere.
Well, if I want to be a part of it,
I'd probably want to try and get rid of the people who are trying to catch me.
Let's face it, he knows he'll be sentenced to death if he's caught.
We all sat here and watched when L decided to pull that media stunt and challenged Kira to kill him. Well, it was all very impressive at the time. But then again, L never had to show his face or reveal his name, for that matter. I'm sure you recall L's last request. He asked that we take a closer look at how these victims' identities were made public, and specifically to determine whether photos of the victims were available to the public prior to their deaths. Well, it turns out he was right. Every single one of those victims' names and photos were broadcast to the Japanese public, and then they died. Unlike someone we know, we're out there investigating this case wearing police IDs with our names and photos on them. Anybody with a computer can find out who we are. We don't hide our faces, we're out in the open.
Sir, the truth is we could be killed by Kira at any time.
For these reasons, we refuse to continue working this case. Excuse us, Chief.
Hey, stop! All of you! Hold it right there!
surprise, only 3.
In order to solve this problem, we must establish the concept that x squared equals large x. Now pay attention because this is important. Before we tackle more complex quadratic equations, we have to start thinking of large x's value as simply the multiple of two integers.
What is he doing?
We brought the FBI to Japan 4 days ago. They're fully operational. As requested, they're now gathering intel on the police.
And this is the complete list?
Yes.
There are 141 people in the police force who have access to classified information regarding the investigation.
How many
I'm
of them
sure
with
that
kids?
Somewhere in this list of police officers and the people closest to them, we will find our suspect.
Light, you got a second?
I already told you you can't talk to me in public. How many times do I have to tell you?
In that case, I'll talk, you just listen.
Yeah.
If you don't want to hear me, you can plug your ears or something. First of all, I don't have anything against you. I actually think the notebook couldn't have been picked up by a better person. I'm here because I have to stick around till the death note is finished, or I see you die, whichever comes first. But make no mistake, Light, I'm not on your side or Elle's side.
Yeah, well, I knew that much already.
You'll never hear me
Death
say
Note is
anything
finished?
about whether
Like
what you're
destroyed?
doing is right or wrong. I'm not here to support you or give you my opinion. I'm just a spectator. But as your roommate, I might have a few things to say now and then.
What's this about, Ryuk? Why are you telling me all this stuff now anyway? It's really not like you.
It's just that I'm no ally of yours, or Kira's if you prefer. The only reason I'm gonna tell you this is because personally it's starting to creep me out.
Get to the point already.
You're being followed by another human. He's watching you right now.
It's creeping me out.
It's really starting to get on my nerves. I realize there's no way he can see me. But because I'm always following behind you wherever you go, I feel like I'm constantly being watched.
That's a problem. I'll have to get rid of him as soon as possible.
Is it L?
Who would be following me? Does this mean Elle is already starting to suspect the police?
Well,
If
we
he's
know
gonna
that.
investigate the police, he'll need a lot of resources and manpower. Even if he has as many as 50 people on the case, I don't see how they could ever figure out that I'm Kira. I shouldn't look like anything other than your average high school senior. But the longer I let this person keep following me, the greater the chances they'll figure out who I really am. Above all, I need my stalker's name. Once I figure that out, I can get rid of him for good.
Light, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. What makes a Shinigami and a human who has a death note different? Well, there are two things. And why do Shinigami have to write the names of humans in their death notes? You got any ideas?
Of course not. Why would I know that? You know,
I'm curious.
You sure are talkative today.
It's because we are able to take human lifespans for ourselves.
Huh? Wait, what do you mean by that?
Let's say you have a human who is due to live until the age of 60, and a god of death wrote that this person would die at 40. 60 minus 40 equals 20. Now those 20 years taken from someone in the human world are added to that god of death's life. So it means that as long as we don't slack off, even if someone was to shoot us in the head, or stab us in the heart with a knife, a god of death cannot die. On the other hand, no matter how many names you write in your death note, your lifespan will not increase. That is the first
Does it go to
difference
him?
between gods of death and humans who possess a death note.
That's something about Shinigami that I haven't heard before. Pretty interesting stuff.
The second difference between us will probably be of even greater interest to you. Though this has less to do with lengthening life and more to do with cutting it short.
What do you mean cutting it short?
Shinigami can tell what a person's name is by just looking at their face. We know instantly. And do you have any idea why? Because through a Shinigami's eyes, a human's name can be seen above their head. Not only that, we see their lifespan as well.
Their name and lifespan?
So he knows when Light is gonna die?
That's right. I'm able to see your name and lifespan right now. If I converted that to human time, I could tell you how many years you've got left, but there's no way I'd ever tell you that. I may have a big mouth, but even I wouldn't go that far. Shinigami never have to worry that they won't be able to kill a person just because they don't know their name. And every time we do take a life, we always know exactly how many years we're going to receive. Our eyes just aren't the same, and that is the difference between you and I.
So does he know the name of the person following him?
If a Shinigami drops his death note and a human picks it up, he can grant that human the eyes of a Shinigami.
Oh!
But only if a deal is made, one that's been with us since ancient times.
And what's the deal?
The price for having a Shinigami's eyes is half of that person's remaining lifespan. That's all it is.
Half of my remaining lifespan?
Yeah. In other words, if you were supposed to live another 50 years, it'll be 25. If it was one more year, then 6 months.
I see. And since you've made it clear you're not on anyone's side, and won't help me out, you wouldn't just give me the names of people I'm about to kill. Basically, you're saying that I can't simply borrow your powers. I'd have to pay for them.
That's right. It's a key part of the code that all Shinigami are bound by. I'll say this once more. Give me half your remaining lifespan, and I'll give you the Shinigami eyes.
If I agree, I'll be able to know everyone's name just by looking at them.
Oh!
If I had that power, the Death Note would only be easier to use.
So, what'll it be like?
Are you gonna do it? And is that L? Oh man, it didn't look like the image of L. Because we didn't see his full face, we just saw the side of him. So I don't think that's L, that's someone else that's following him. Oh man, what a interesting deal though. So the Shinigami can make a deal with the human that has the Death Note and give him his eye, and the eye allows him to just look at someone's face and be able to know what their name is. But to pay for it, you have to give up half of your life. Only Shinigami knows how much time Light has. This show, man. I like this battle between L and Light. I don't know who to root for, though. It seems like L's the good guy, maybe, but also at the same time, I don't know, because he's just in the shadows the whole time. And then, Light seemed like a good guy initially, is getting a little... the whole I want to be the god of this world. I don't like those vibes. So I'm just kind of enjoying the battle and not really rooting for one side or the other. Maybe that'll change later on and it'll become apparent who, the good guy really is. But definitely not going to know right now. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already, and we'll catch you for the next upload. Peace out.